Power Director Made Simple. Today we are going to examine how to create dialogue transitions using J-cuts and L-cuts. There are three main types of sound transitions, also known as sound bridges. These are the dialogue, sound effects, and music. Today we are going to look at just the dialogue sound transitions. But first, if you haven't already subscribed to this channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Now, let's get some schoolwork out of the way, just so you can visualize what a J-cut or L-cut might look like on the timeline. Check out these images. Here's a representation of the J-cut, in which the audio track from the second clip shown in pink starts to play while the video track of the first clip shown in blue is still playing. The next image shows an L-cut, in which the audio from clip 1 shown in blue continues to play while the video of the second clip starts to play. You're going to hear me mention J-cuts and L-cuts throughout this video, but unless you are a professional movie director or sound engineer, don't worry about the names. They will not appear on the quiz at the end of this video, and nobody will ever give a rat's behind if you know the name or not. The important thing is that you know the technique. Let's see some actual examples of how all of this works. The first example comes from the 2008 movie The Dark Knight. You'll hear the laughter coming from the Joker, who has not yet entered the scene. The laughing continues while the Joker walks in front of the camera to greet the meeting of the other thugs.
I thought my jokes were bad.
So, how about this transition? Was it a J-cut or an L-cut? Because the laughing was coming from the next scene while the first scene was still visible, this makes that a J-cut. In this next example from the 2011 movie The Tree of Life, listen to the voice of the child counting out how many times he opens and closes the screen door. And notice that his voice continues counting as the next scene becomes visible.
Count it out.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Now, was that a J-cut or an L-cut? This time the sound dialogue continued into the next scene, so therefore this was an L-cut. The next clip comes from the movie Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Listen to the teacher's voice in the classroom and then continuing over the image of Cameron Fry's house.
Fry. Fry. Fry.
Because the audio from the first clip continued over into the next clip, this is another L-cut. And finally, we have the ever-popular clip from the movie The Graduate from 1967, starring Dustin Hoffman, playing Ben Braddock. Listen as Ben hears a voice during a lovemaking scene with Mrs. Robinson. The voice continues into the next scene with Ben floating on a raft in a pool. Obviously, the fact that the voice from the second scene was heard in the first scene makes this a J-cut.
Ben, what are you doing?
Well, I would say that I'm just drifting here in the pool.
Why?
Well, it's very comfortable just to drift here.
By now, you are probably screaming at me and say, hey, these are great, but how can I accomplish that in Power Director? Let's do that using the scene from The Graduate. Here on the timeline, I now have just that one clip from The Graduate. I've zoomed out on the timeline so that we can see the entire clip. But first, let's get the clip back to its original form before the editing was ever performed, so that we can see what it's like to do it all by ourselves. We're first going to click on the clip and select it, and then right-click and select Unlink the video and audio. If you notice now, I can click on either the audio or the video alone to select them. Now we want to find the exact frame in the video when the man first appears, and we're going to split the clip at that point. And up in the preview window, we can click on the little gadget to go to the previous frame. We want to find exactly where he first appears. And there it is right there. So in the video clip, we're going to split that right there. Now we're going to find the spot in the audio where that man begins to speak, and we're going to split that audio clip at that point. If we move the playhead over to here and hit play,
Ben, what are you doing?
we know it's right there where he begins to speak, right at this point here. So we're just going to move the playhead just before that. We're going to select the audio clip, and we're going to split it at that point. Now all we have to do is align these two splits. We're going to move this one over. That's when we can hear him speaking, and that's when he first appears. We're going to take the rest of this audio, and we're going to butt it to there. Actually, in that scene with Dustin and Mrs. Robinson, there's not much sound going on in there. But we're going to play both clips right now as they came out of the camera. This is the scene with Dustin Hoffman, and there's another scene with the man standing by the scene at the pool where he begins to talk.
Ben, what are you doing?
Well, I would say that I'm just drifting here in the pool.
Why?
Well, it's very comfortable just to drift here.
These two clips are now restored to their pre-transition state. This is exactly how the scenes were filmed in the camera. If we play the clips from the beginning, notice that you won't hear the man until you can see him in the second scene. It seems to work as filmed in the camera, but the fact that Dustin turns his head while in bed also seems like he was hearing somebody that is not there. That is the way the director wanted the scene filmed. He knew it would be edited using a J-cut. So now let's create that J-cut in Power Director. We're going to pretend we just got two scenes out of the camera as filmed. We're going to move the first audio clip back to the left at the beginning of the video track that we have here. Click on it, slide it over to the left. All we've done right now is made room for the audio of the second clip to slide over, thus making our J clip. We're going to select that second audio clip and move it to the left to match up with the first. And that's it. Congratulations. You just created a dialogue J-cut exactly the same as Hollywood. We'll play it.
Ben, what are you doing?
Well,
Works perfectly.